So DeSantis announced that he was extraditing Singh back to Florida. And he also said that he was going to throw the book at Singh. He also said, or it was also announced rather, that he was being held without bond. DeSantis said he was going to throw the book at him, make an example out of him. I want you guys to think of something here, the underlying tone here. Why is this so important? Well, it's not what the American truck driver in general thinks, probably. They're thinking, oh, it's because they see the problem. The government sees the problem of all these non English speaking truck drivers causing all these problems on America's roadways. So they're taking action and getting rid of them. No, it's political grandstanding, is what it is. Where was this illegal from? California. Who is the governor of California? Gavin Newsom. And the accident happened in Florida, and the governor of Florida is DeSantis. So, who is going to be the front runners for the next presidential election? Probably Gavin Newsom and probably DeSantis. They are having their political war with Singh caught in the middle. Now, I'm not defending him. I mean, he was illegal. He made an illegal U-turn. He caused a fatality, several fatalities. 3 people lost their lives in this accident. But it's very convenient for this to be so much front page news, and it happens to be the tug of war between DeSantis and Newsom. I want to bring something to your attention here. Anytime something like this happens with trucking or that has an effect on trucking, what it brings on is more rules and regulations. It stiffens up the loopholes until someone loosens up the loopholes. That's what we're going through right now, because Barack Obama would not let the DOT enforce the English proficiency rule that was already in effect. And he was the one that let the illegals come into the country to begin with by the millions. Okay? And now it is left up to these political figures to try to figure out what to do now. Well, what's going to end up happening is a negative effect on all of trucking, not just non English speaking drivers, not just illegal truck drivers. I want to bring up an example, another major example. You guys remember 9/11 that happened in New York. And you may say, well, that's a totally different thing. Well, these were people that came from a foreign country. They were taught how to fly planes. They flew them into the World Trade Center. And it was all over the news for a long time. Does anyone here remember what it was like to get a hazmat endorsement on your CDL before 9/11? It was a fairly easy process. Now it's not. Now it's not at all. And I have seen illegals, what I deem as illegals. I don't know if they're illegal or not. They don't look that much different than Singh, pulling trailers, driving erratically, pulling a trailer with hazmat placards on it. And it makes me wonder, how does that happen? Because there's loopholes that got loosened. And now we're going back into the process of tightening the loopholes. So it's not just going to affect illegals, it's going to affect everyone in trucking. I have the mentality, I have the train of thought to think that there is still going to be a bias there. There's going to be a bias against independents and small trucking companies. The ones that are going to get the quote unquote free ride out of this is the major corporate trucking companies. Why? Because they are the ones that are in bed with the ATA, and the ATA is in bed with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Nobody is saying anything about the major corporate trucking companies here. It's all hush hush about them. Look at what they're doing. Look at how many accidents they're having. Look at all of the fatality accidents in major corporate trucking companies. No one says a word about that. But it's front page news about an illegal, an immigrant that can't read, write, and speak English, that supposedly only got one road sign right out of the test. And it's like, everyone look over here. Let's divert your attention over here. Look over here, but don't look at Swift and Warner and Walmart and all these corporate trucking companies having fatality accidents themselves. Don't look at them. Look at what's going to go over here on the front page news, the hot topic of the day, the subject that's going to get either Newsom or DeSantis elected to president. What I would like to see happen is fairness come back into trucking, not political grandstanding, not get on your soapbox and preach about something that is going to get you elected president. What I would like to see is being fair, like a fair gauge of justice for all of trucking. Once you get on the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration's radar, or the DOT's radar, or you get on the radar for someone that is trying to get into public office, it's hard to get back off of that. It's really hard to get back off of that radar. Well, corporate trucking is never on it to begin with, because they know the right buttons to push. They know the right pockets to fill. They know how to carry themselves. CSA has never been fair since the day it was implemented. CSA is supposed to be safety and compliance with all trucking companies, but it is fashioned in a way to where it gives the upper hand to corporate trucking. Any small trucking company, it doesn't matter if it is an immigrant owned trucking company or just a small mom and pop trucking company, they are going to be on the radar of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and the DOT's radar. It's always going to be that way. I see it right here with this trucking company that I'm with nine truck drivers, 9 trucks. I see it here. I've seen it for other trucking companies that I've worked for. But you go with a larger trucking company, especially a company that's got on their back door, we proudly support the ATA. It's like they just get a free pass right through the weigh scale. Go ahead, driver. You're doing good. And these are some of the most unsafe trucking companies that there are. This is not a fair system in trucking, and it hasn't been for a long time. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration was built by Bill Clinton on a lie to begin with. We need the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration because truck drivers and trucking companies are killing thousands of people all over the interstate every single day. So we need something like the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration to rein this back in, right? That's what they said back in the day in 2000, whenever the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration started. Well, why don't they say something about FedEx? Why don't they say something about UPS? Why don't they say something about Walmart? All of these trucking companies have had multiple, not just one, they have had multiple fatal accidents on their record every year. Every few months, they're involved in another fatal accident. And the argument is going to be, well, they're so big, it's just bound to happen. There's so many of these drivers in these mega corporation companies. Their odds are they're going to more than likely have accidents, and more than likely it will be a fatal accident, right? Well, who said they have to get so big? That's my argument about it. Whoever said they had to get so big? Back in the day, the government broke up Southwestern Bell because it was too big. They controlled too much of the industry, of the telephone industry. So they had to get broke up. Do you hear about the government saying anything about breaking up major corporate trucking companies? Even though they're having fatal accidents every couple of months, every so often they are having another fatal accident. Hey, you're okay. You're good. You got a satisfactory score. You don't see the Walmart truck driver walking in with handcuffs on and DeSantis screaming, "We're going to make an example out of Walmart." I don't ever hear that. Have you ever heard that? I haven't heard it at all. This is political grandstanding, what they're doing with Singh. They're wanting to say, look, we're giving you what you want, and you're buying into it. But the underlying tone is DeSantis wants to be president. Newsom wants to be president. They're already starting their battle before the elections have even gotten here. See, if you sit and think about it, what you should be doing is pressing all of these people saying, why don't you do something to get the independents and the small trucking companies and the owner operators back into making money again? Why don't you make it to where it's a more fair system for everyone, not just a select few in trucking? Remember about drain the swamp? Remember about getting rid of lobbyists? Remember about we're going to make everything fair for the common man? Who's talking about that now? They're talking about making an example out of an immigrant that can't read, write, and speak English. One person. And they want everybody's attention to be on one person. Well, I have a little bigger train of thought than that. I would like to see the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. I would like to see the DOT come on and make an announcement and say, FedEx, you have one more fatal accident, you are going to be the one walking in cuffs. Enough is enough from you. What about that? What about that? The reason that they're not going to go there is because the lobbyists and the corporate trucking companies and the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and all of these people that are in bed together have waged a war on the blue collar workers in trucking for over 25 years. They have waged a war for over 25 years. It was the reason the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration was started, was to put a hurt on these small trucking companies and give all the glory to the major mega carriers. Today is no different. Now is no different. They're using Singh as a diversion. Hey, you guys don't look at everything that's going on, just look at this one thing that's going on. We're giving you what you want, right? Are they? Are they really giving you what you want? If they gave me what I wanted, I would be back being an owner-operator pulling $4 a mile freight every day. Because that's what I want. And it's not just the illegals that are the problem. The major corporate trucking companies are just as much at fault or more. Why aren't they in the spotlight? Something for you to think about. You might want to think about it and look into it a little bit more like I have. Are they really giving you what you want? Or are they giving you what they want you to think you want? You guys take care. Be safe out there as always. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're getting new subscribers every day to the channel. I would love to have you as a subscriber too. Come on board. Have a good day.